Xbox Live, not game exclusives, may be Xbox One's greatest strength. Microsoft has chosen to focus on services over exclusives for Xbox One, but how valuable is that strategy? Well, that's something we're going to talk about in this video. What up, everybody? It's your boy Nautical, back at it with another video. So, looking at this article, link down in the description, is from Gaming Boat. They put up an article talking about how they feel Microsoft has prioritized Xbox Live over game exclusives. So I'm not going to get into the whole notion about is this article correct or is it biased or whatever it may be. This is more of an opinion piece on my part, and I'm just going to use this article as a reference. So let's start with the top of this article. Now I'm just going to read it verbatim, so it's going to be insinuating some things that this guy actually said himself, not what I'm saying, so just listen up. Microsoft has a problem with exclusives. I'm actually beginning to get tired of harping on it. And those of you who have been reading and following these articles probably already know my take on that. In my opinion, Microsoft has repeatedly and consistently failed to deliver great exclusives on Xbox One. So let's start with this part right here. Let's talk about the exclusive games that launched with the Xbox One. Killer Instinct, one of the best fighting games on the system. Really, really good fighting game. I enjoy it a lot, and I know a lot of people enjoy it too. Forza Motorsport 5. Not as good as 6 and 7, but still really good because it's a Forza game, and Forza is one of the more premier racing games in the genre. So definitely still a really good game there. Rise Center Rome. Now, Rise had some issues on the Xbox One. It still ran pretty good. When it got the PC, it got better, but that still doesn't take away from the fact that that was a great game. Single player wise was really fun. If you did the co-op with your friend online, it was even better. That game surprised a lot of people. It was by far the best looking game on the systems, and that include PS4 at launch. So don't want to hear that Microsoft didn't have a killer game that looked amazing on the system when it launched, because Rise Son of Rome was that. Then they had Dead Rising 3. Zombie apocalypse, zombies everywhere. Probably the most zombies you'll ever see on the screen when it came to fidelity when the game first launched. The game suffered from massive frame rate problems, but the game was still enjoyable to play. It gave you the sandbox and allowed you to do anything you wanted to do in it. So Dead Rising 3, yet another launch exclusive. And then you still had the third-party support games. So people say that the Xbox didn't have any games, but they did. And then the next year, they came out with Halo. Halo 5 launched the next year. Horizon 2 launched that next year. So there were games on the system, and people keep forgetting that. Master Chief Collection should have done a lot better than it did. The only reason it failed is because 343 tried to do some crazy magic sauce to make the experience shareable across all the games, and no matter what game you were in, you can take advice, and the matchmaking was switching between other games, and it worked for a little bit, and then it broke, and then the player base died off. But that game was tragically cut short because who didn't want to play Halo 2 with better graphics? I was looking forward to that game, and the reason I didn't really play it is because the game was so broke at launch. And I'm sorry, I'm one of those people that if your game is broke at launch, I just can't play it. And honestly, that happening on the Xbox One was the main reason I kept playing Destiny, because Destiny was my substitute for Halo Master Chief not working. Because if Halo Master Chief worked at the beginning, I would have been playing the hell out of that game, and I probably wouldn't be as fond of Destiny as I am today. But that's another game that they actually did have launch on the system. And if you try to go play that now, it works flawlessly. It's like the game should have been delayed for a year to get that thing right. So that's another game that they did have come out, even though it was broken, they fixed it later on. Then you had, like I talked about, Halo 5. Story was all over the place, but it's still a Halo game. And on top of that, the multiplayer is still one of the best multiplayers you could play right now. And it's still vibrant, and you can still find games whenever you go into it. So that's definitely still a plus. Gears of War. Still had a Gears of War game come out. I know a lot of people were burnt by Judgment, and that definitely helped the perceived notion of the game to think that people wouldn't want to play it, but Gears of War did come out. And then the best racing game of the generation so far, Forza Horizon 3, came out, and it was amazing. So Microsoft has had games come out, and the biggest problem that people see is, well, they want newer games. Well, we did get some newer games. Like I said, Rise Son of Rome, we did get that. Ori and the Blind Forest, one of the best platforming games that you can play. It was like heartbreaking and heart touching and just a great overall story. I'm actually playing that now on Xbox One because I played it on PC. And it was amazing to play that game. And that was an experience that you could only get on Xbox One. And yes, some of these games are available on PC. But guess what? You can't get them on PlayStation. You can only get them on PC. And if you don't have a PC that can run them, then you definitely want to have an Xbox to play them. All right, let's move over to the next paragraph. Exclusives matter. As this year has shown us, the PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch are both outselling the Xbox One worldwide on the backs of their lineup in exclusive games. But even as the Xbox One finds itself assuaged in two fronts at once, I think there is a case to be made that Microsoft increasingly sees Xbox Live in the suite of services that it represents as the Xbox One's primary differentiator and appeal in the market. In a sense, this is not a misguided direction to take. Players who invest in your ecosystem of services become entrenched in it and are less likely to jump over to the competition. After all, if you are assured that your Xbox Live gamer tag, friends, achievements, and even games will carry forward to the next Xbox, why wouldn't your first choice be Xbox over PlayStation when the next cycle rolls around? So I don't really have that much to say about this part, but I will say this. I do agree with everything he said about the way once you're entrenched in a service, it's kind of hard for you to pull away from it. Gamer tags, friends, achievements, games, all that stuff carrying over makes it a really hard thing and a really compelling choice for you to always stick with Xbox. And I think that's what they thought was going to be the number one factor when people upgraded from 360 to Xbox One. But the horrendous launch of the Xbox One kind of swayed a lot of people to go in the opposite direction to the PlayStation brand. I do believe that Xbox has one leg up when it comes to Xbox Live. And that is just because Xbox Live feels like it's a part of Microsoft. It feels like it's a part of the system. PSN just feels like a means to an end to allow people to play games together. Xbox goes a little bit further than that. I know there's some people out there that have really nice stories about how they met their friends on PSN, and I'm not saying that those things aren't true, but when I think online services and I think a system, is not PSN. If it is PSN, it's about what happened a long time ago when everybody's credit card information got stolen, and that's how we ended up getting PS Plus. But I don't think of Xbox Live for all the negative things happen. I think of Xbox Live for all the things that is brought to gaming. And that is very, very beneficial. And he is absolutely right in his article about Microsoft having a really big focus around services and what Xbox Live can do for you and for the people around you. All right, so let's move over to the next paragraph. There is also little denying that as of right now, the Xbox One's primary appeal on the market is its suite of services, and certainly is not the games, of which the PS4 has more and better. It isn't third-party support, and it isn't hardware problems, even knowing later on this year when the X1 comes out, that will change. Indeed, the Xbox One's true advantage over PSN right now, and the only advantage it has, is its suite of services it offers, such as backwards compatibility, play anywhere, cross-play, refunds, gifting, as well as a suite of smaller features and functionality on Xbox Live that are cumulatively beyond what PSN can muster. Indeed, Microsoft's wins over Sony over the last few years are largely on the service front too. Look at the good PR they generated over Sony for backwards compatibility, cross-platform play, the ability to mod on their system, or allow services like EA Access. These are all wins scored in the service-focused arena. This is not an accident. In a situation like this, Xbox begins to gain a sort of appeal for customers even while lacking exclusives. If you are only interested in online games, then the Xbox is undoubtedly better for you. If your console is as much as a social hub for you as your friends, as it is a way for you to play games, then again, the Xbox is better for you. If you want the security of your purchases, digital and physical, Xbox Live is better. If you're a PC gamer as well, Xbox is better. or you own an Xbox 360, then the Xbox becomes a viable and maybe even a alluring proposition in such a scenario. And just to really chime in on that part, I talked about it earlier, Xbox does have games, and I do agree with all the things he said in this thing, but I just don't like the context that is put in, like Microsoft doesn't have games. Where they do have games, it just may not be the games that this individual himself may not like, but those games are there. And just to have a blatant statement and say that all PS4 games are better, no, they're not all better. There are bad PS4 games too. There are games on Xbox that are way better than PS4 games. It's just that the fact that you're throwing out a blanket statement saying, oh, all PS4 games are better and there's more of them. Well, duh, there are more PS4 games because PS4 has more developers and more first-party studios. But that doesn't mean that all their games are better. But I do agree with all the things he was saying about if you think that these are better options for you, the things he listed off, I do agree. Those are all valid reasons why you should have an Xbox One. All right, now we got the last paragraph and we're in the home stretch. Of course, there are so many qualifiers necessary to achieve that situation. One who owns a 360, has no interest in exclusives, or only plays a few online games a year, among others. That's the pool of customers the Xbox is appealing to by focusing on services over exclusives. And games are quite low, but there is a pool, and we can at least understand Microsoft's strategy even if we don't agree with it. And there are a lot of reasons to not agree with their strategy at all. Indeed, the Nintendo Switch with its middling hardware and frankly horrific state of services, the two areas that Microsoft has chosen to focus on, stand testament to the fact that ultimately games are what sell gaming systems. Services, while valuable, are a value addition to the games. They exist to complement your games and enhance them, not replace them. Without valuable, great games that people have to buy an Xbox for, the company's fortunes in the market are not going to change. It will continue to be dominated by Sony and steadily lose its second place to Nintendo as well. Microsoft's focus on service is not misguided. In the future, services will matter a lot, and Microsoft is trying to get us there now. That's good and admirable. And indeed, their services have already enhanced the Xbox experience in multiple ways in the here and now. Now only if they can muster up some investments for some awesome IPs for the console. Alright, so this is going to be my final thoughts for this video and for this article. And I just want to get this across to you guys. Phil Spencer put out a roadmap right after E3 talking about what he wanted his Xbox to be. And the first thing he talked about was fixing Xbox Live. Now, everything that this guy talked about in this article are things that Phil Spencer made to make Xbox Live a better platform for your games to be on, for all your services and everything. Is just better because Phil made a priority to make it that way. And he did it. And Xbox Live is everything we want it to be. Next, they wanted to fix the hardware. They listened to customer feedback, they listened to developer feedback, and that's where the Xbox One X was born. This is the system that Phil Spencer wanted to put out in the beginning, and he's hoping that this will right the wrong of everything Microsoft did in 2013 by listening to the consumer, listening to the developers, and giving us the system we wanted. And hopefully that is the case. Last but not least, he talked about the games. Right after E3, he talked about how he signed a bunch of deals for a bunch of games that are going to be coming out, and how he could have showed up on stage on a sizzle reel, but he felt like those games were so far out, he didn't want to disappoint people by letting them know that those games were nowhere near even close to production to even get them even on a screen to show them. And I respect that. But the games are coming. So if you believe Phil Spencer was going to fix Xbox Live, which he did, if you believe Phil Spencer was going to give you the system that you wanted, which is the Xbox One X, and he's doing that, why wouldn't you believe that he's bringing you the games too? So even though in this article wasn't horrible, it wasn't like probably something that I actually say is like gospel and it needed to be said. I do agree with some of the stuff he said in it. But the one thing I don't agree with is the fact that he's saying there's no games. And there are games, and the games already came out, and there's games still on the horizon. So guys, if you really like this video, subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. It really helps the channel out. It does nothing but help us grow. Also, what do you guys think about this article? Do you think that this guy is spot on? Do you think that he's off basis on a couple of things? Are you neutral on the whole thing? Talk about it down in the comment section. I appreciate you watching this video all the way through. It's a brand new week. You guys have a good one, and I will talk to you in the next video. Peace.